Okay, well, it's Father's Day, although by the time you see this, it ain't gonna be Father's Day anymore. The spraying video decided to, well, the spraying video that you already saw decided to upload last night to 60%, and then it just froze. Didn't, just like it lost where its spot was. So that's currently going right now, but you will have seen that already. But anyway, probably should be trying to spray right now because the dews burn off and it's decent out, but only got 40 acres left to go, all in one spot, so that's not going to take that's not that big of a deal. And we've been working like hell trying to play catch up, and with everything else going on, it's just a good time to take a day off. So plus it's Father's Day, so we're going to a little truck show not too far from here, probably about a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive. The American Truck Historical Society, I can't remember what chapter it is, but they put on this little truck show in conjunction with the Hesston Steam Museum in Hesston, Indiana. And it's not a super huge show. It's one of them deals, they started it and they're trying to grow it. And the COVID kind of put a hurting on it the last couple, well, they didn't have it in 2021, or no, they didn't have it in 2019. Whatever, time flies when the government's stupid. Whenever COVID started, was that 2019? Yeah, because it was 2 years. They didn't have it in 19 because of COVID, and then last year, I can't remember why we didn't go. I think it was raining or thunderstorming or something on Father's Day, whatever. We didn't go last year either. So they're having it again this year, and the weather is nice, so figured we'd go over there for a few hours anyhow. So we got the truck shined up. Probably the most attention they both got since we owned them. Not that we neglect them any, but what? Oh, Mom's talking on the phone. Dad went a little bit more overboard on his than I went on mine, but tell you what, Wesley's tire shine comes in a white squirt bottle. That shit works great on rubber floor mats. That took off all the grime, kind of shined them. Well, it didn't necessarily shine it up, but it made it look really, really good compared to what I started with. But it's all detailed and backed out, and even put some tire shine on it. Dad went a little bit more overboard on his, and I think he shined his floor mats, and he's got towels down so you can't get. That was a little bit more overboard than what I want, but he also had a couple more hours of working on his, because he was, when I got back from spraying yesterday, he already had been like halfway through detailing his already. So I wished I'd have had time to wax it, because I really need to wax the box. I think if you threw some deoxidizing wax at, well, actually what I'd really like to do is repaint the box, because I like Dad's truck better. My bed is a, I think my bed's a Schleen. I don't know if that's the brand of the bed or if that's the company that put the bed on the truck. Because my bed's not a Midwest. Dad's bed's a Midwest. Mine is not a Midwest. I wonder if there used to be a... But anyway, Dad's the bed rails are black, and mine are red and kind of blend in with the box. And I like Dad's better with the black rails and the red sides. And my bed has got enough paint missing, it almost warrants, or almost justifies repainting the bed. And I'd make the frame and rails black and the box sides back red, and probably have it pinstriped up like Dad's Midwest box, because I like the pinstriping on this one better than what was on mine. And I know I got some guys that drive truck that watch this, so I got a question for you. So I noticed last year, all the years owning this truck, it took me until last year to finally notice that my mirrors don't match. Actually, I think that one's original because that one matches ones on Dad's truck. This one's a replacement because the back is different. And they're 7x16 West Coasters. And I was looking at new mirrors last night for it, and everything I could find is Taiwanese, Chinesium garbage. So I didn't know if any of my guys that drive truck or are into redoing trucks know, is there a good truck shop to go to that would sell good USA made West Coast truck mirrors? Either paint to match or stainless or chrome or really anything. But I want to put matching mirrors back on it. So if anybody knows a good spot to go for, if there even is such a thing anymore as USA made West Coast truck mirrors, let me know, because I'd like to find a set. But anyway, we're just killing time until it's time to leave for the show, because it's on Central Time, so they're an hour behind us. So I guess we will catch you guys at the show. Hi, Shelly.
Hi.
We're here, and somehow we're early again. So while the trucks are trickling in, we'll walk around to some of the other stuff they got. This is actually the steam show grounds. They have a tractor show here, and well, technically, when I was a kid, it was just a steam show grounds. Now it's actually a full-blown non-for-profit museum. And it's actually grown quite a bit since I was a little kid. But I guess we can start here at the steam crane, which they use to load well, not currently, because it's actually down for boiler inspection, and they were over there. I think it failed boiler inspection, and they're overhauling the boiler is what was going on. But they do use this to load logs onto the sawmill. It's a 1941 Browning, built for the U.S. Navy. Navy's Columbus Depot, used to load ordnance. 92 tons, 26 ton lift capacity. So she is a worker, she's just down for overhaul right now. I have seen that crane run. It's kind of cool. Steam stuff's so quiet. You expect it to make a lot of noise, and it's just so quiet. And then they got the sawmill. That's obviously also steam powered. $1900 Hill Curtis out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. Unfortunately, I don't think any, well, I know the mill's not running. They're going to be running trains today, but they're not going to be running any of this stuff. But and the engine's a 1941 Skinner. Doesn't say how many horse it is. And then that's the boiler for it. They have run it recently because that's some fairly fresh sawn lumber. And then they got, this is their cordwood saw they use for sawing up their scraps. And they either run with that, that's a D, or pretty sure it's a D power unit, or they got this little steam engine. Troy Enberg, or yeah, E-N-G-B-E-R-G, Egberg, however you pronounce that. But this museum is 100% volunteer run and funded. So, little steam donkey winch. An old South Shore rail line caboose. South Shore runs between Chicago and South Bend. Hence South Shore, because it runs along the South Shore of the lake. I'm guessing that's up for restoration because it looks like the interior's been gutted. And then a 1917 Russell. I've seen this steamer run. It doesn't, I don't think this one lives here permanent because I've seen it at a couple other shows, but I think one of these days it'd be cool to get fireman certified and run a steamer. At least once in my life, I think it'd be cool. Even if I didn't get certified, if I knew somebody that had a steamer and they let me run it for a little while. We'll come back to the trucks later when there's more here.
Okay, so that's where we're at this year. It was hot last year. It was hot.
Baker fan. Woods Brothers steamer. Some of this stuff doesn't have plaques on it, so I can't tell you a whole lot about it because we're getting way outside of my realm of knowledge when you get this old. 1921 Rumley. No model on it, I think. I'm not even going to venture a guess because whatever it'll be wrong. And then a little baby. These are local tractors. These were built in Port, Indiana, in what would later become the Alice Chalmers factory. And a JI case. I'm guessing that's probably about a 30-35 horse, judging by the size. Yeah. The plaque might tell you. Nope, 50 horse. I was off. Engine number 33666. That seems like a scary serial number to put on a steamer. 666. Seems like that'd be bad luck. Minneapolis. Pre-Minneapolis Moline. Minneapolis Plow Company and Moline Plow Company would later join to become Minneapolis Moline. Engine 8529. And then you got the classic Ford Model T. I know, Teeter, there's all sorts of smells to smell in here. And then we got a couple big steam, well, I shouldn't say big, they're definitely a lot bigger than this, but 1890 Smith, Myers, and Schneider. Out of the Sanders and Egbert Sawmill, Goshen, Indiana. 75 horse. And it powered, the first mill was destroyed by a fire. It was moved to Sanders Lumber Company in South Bend, Indiana, and it ran there till 1924. And then this one, For the Alice fans, Alice Chalmers Corliss, 1918. Used in a munitions plant, First World War. This one went to the Sanders Lumber Company where that guy ended up. Huh. This one ran a while. Engine was in regular service until the sawmill was destroyed by a fire in 1977. Huh. That's impressive. This one's 350 horse. I wish they said how much that flywheel weighed, because I bet it's a lot. Probably just the flywheel and the crank assembly alone, I bet you're looking at, I'd guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 ton. I might even be low. We gotta work on Teeter's leash skills. John Brothers boiler. Really makes you kind of sad. I mean, made in Michigan, Cincinnati, Ohio, LaPorte, Indiana, all the stuff that used to be made in the United States, and it's no longer, we can't do shit anymore. No information on this boiler. And then fortunately they got it boarded up. This is actually a light plant. There's another steamer in there that runs a that runs a steam turbine generator. Or there's a steam turbine generator which is run off of that boiler in here. And they got a bunch of turn-of-the-century lighting and stuff in there that runs off of it. A couple big cats. Steam-operated power hammer for blacksmithing. Niles Bement Pond Co., New York. Bement number 5330R. And a Cat DI 3000. Yeah, it's a DI, right? Unless that's a line. It's either a D3000 or a DI 3000. I bet it's DI, diesel industrial. Oh, D13000. It's supposed to be a 1. That's a lot of cubic inches. A lot. Them came a long way. Oh wait, Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Devon. Maybe somebody can shed some light on that. That's where they both came from. This one's got a sticker on the back too. Yep, pair of them too. Both of them DI 13000s. Huh. This one went to South America at some point. Otherwise, I don't know why else that tag would be on there. Cat, Chile, Mexico. Yeah, see, yeah, Chile and Mexico. I don't know why else. Maybe a cat guy would know why, unless, I can't believe they would put that tag on everything unless it went to South America. Another steam winch. They're going to be running trains today later too, so when they get them out, we can see them. I realized I should have walked around this engine because now you can see all the Corliss valve gear that makes it run. I wish I'd listed a few more specs, because if this engine ran at 150 RPM, I would be impressed. These big things were all about lots of horsepower, lots of torque, no RPM. You watch them run and they're just like, yeah. And here's another one for the Alice guys. This is the steam whistle off the LaPorte factory. It was donated to this place in 1985. Installed in the early 1900s. Yeah, and then it would have stayed there until the factory closed. And then their gate guards are a couple upright short stroke steam engines, if I remember right. I thought they had plaques on these, but if I remember right, these came out of a couple boats, or a boat or something like that. Sutton Bros, Buffalo, New York. Oh, hey, there's a plaque. Installed on Great Lakes vessel Coalcraft. Yep, I was right. Fueling vessel supplied coal to other ships. Built in 1913, decommissioned in 1976. That's one hell of a life. Like I say, you read stuff like that about what we used to do in this country, what we used to do in the entire Western world, and what happened. I don't know, makes me sad. And there's a little K stationary steamer. This would have been horse-drawn back in its day. Wonder if the tags on this one, nope, this one's boiler tag's gone. It would have been right there. I'm guessing by the heater, I'm guessing that one wouldn't pass inspection anymore. She'd look crusty. Must have ran two different things with it that required two different RPMs, because there's two different size output pulleys on it. And we'll poke around in here real quick, and that'll pretty much be it until things get rolling. Most of this stuff is actually running and used at some point. And like this little cat, this is what they use to maintain a lot of the railroad tracks and stuff around here. Little D2. Case water wagon. Advanced Rumley Thrasher. McCormick Potato Planter. JI Case thrashing machine. She's a big one. Big. There should be a tag on here that gives the dimensions. Somewheres. Just look at how ornate, like, even something as simple as like brace brackets and all the castings and stuff, it just, they had style. Come on, pup. That's a little new. Oh, now you're all tangled up. Come here. Get your foot off the, there we go. Ford Model TT. I'm guessing 1925. Normally that's what they do with them license plates. Huh. U.S. Army. U.S. Army Signal Corps. Generator unit? Yep, generator unit. It's been slightly updated to some more modern stuff. Teeter, you need to quit wrapping yourself around me. 80 diesel. John Deere hay press. That's a hay press, not a hay baler. They accomplished the same thing, but back in the day, they were not a baler, they were a hay press. I could have swore Case put tags on their thrashing machines, kind of like they did the steamers that listed the build date and the dimensions and stuff, but hell, if I'm seeing it, I probably don't know where to look. And then what's this guy? That one is a Avery. And a John Deere binder. And a Broderson crane if you're into them things. I figured we'd come over and get a look at this old binder crane truck real quick. An old Lodestar. Don't know what brand the crane is, but I don't feel like walking back in there because I don't know. Huh, Ford power unit. Well, I guess we could go look at some trucks. You guys already seen these. Dodge 100. I'm guessing a 62 since the license plate's from 62.
The hook almost hooked up to it. Is that right? Yeah. Wow. It's like a lawnmower. Well, they said any vehicle that stops in here.
Teeter down.
I never seen the hook move that fast. It must work for the Lincoln Park tire. We should all look really good.
Oh my god.
That guy's so old. I don't know why.
How much would it weigh?
International KB7. This is a nice truck. This thing runs good. We were here when all these trucks pulled in, but if this is the guy I think it is, he's got another International with a milk body on it. That was here last time Dad and I were here. It looks just as good.
She sure likes to bite pick it up and come up and
Oh my god.
I think it's a duck or something. Chivy blower on it. It's awesome.
B61 Matt with a Thermodyne diesel. This is my favorite model Mac. I love the B series.
He's got all kinds of Cars like that he buys and sells.
Right. That's crazy how people could just do that.
Yeah, I ain't gonna. Yeah. And he drove dump truck for years. He worked for wood truck, buddy. That's all he did. So,
Kenworth.
he does this shit.
Just some 5-hole aluminum rims are worth a chunk of change. An old Hendrickson. I could not even begin to fathom the amount of money you got to wrap up in a truck this old to get it to look like this. This is a pretty truck. Definitely a little different looking. Chevy Wrecker. '68. Wonder what the odds are that's the same transmission that's in my truck, just doesn't have the splitter. Mine's that same 4-speed shift pattern. Hubbard Manufacturing, Farmland, Indiana. Wonder if that's who built the whole wrecker body or if that's just that pulley. And no square body 1 ton. This started out life as a fire truck. I like that dash. No Rio fire truck. This is a local truck. The guy that lives across the field from Mom and Dad used to own it. And actually my dad's cousin owned it before him. And then now a guy down the road from us owns it, but it used to have a fire body on it when it was new. And then the city of Three Oaks owned it for a while and they had a flatbed on it. And then when my dad's cousin bought it is when it had that little people hauler box put on it. The band REO Speedwagon, this is where they got their name. That's why it bugs me when people say REO Speedwagon. That's not how you pronounce it. It's Rio Speedwagon. Couple Ford AA trucks. Single wheel with a oil body on it. And a dual wheel with a flatbed on it. Baby train. They got 3 different gauge railways here. A standard narrow gauge, and then that's like, I guess, I don't even know what gauge that is, but it's like their medium-sized train, and then they got a small gauge that's like 4 or 5 inch gauge. International KB11. This was trucking right here. You knew you put in a day's work of driving when you had that thing. Be surprised if it even had power steering. And you can tell truck drivers back then, they weren't no big boys, because most of the guys that drive truck now probably wouldn't even fit behind that steering wheel. I mean, look at that. That would be tight fit for me. You got like 1.5 foot and that's it. Maybe 24 inches, but that'd be pushing it. It does got an air horn though. Wonder if this is air brake or juice brake. Nope, it's air brake. I'll be damned. Most likely wedge brakes this old. Now I guarantee you they're wedge brakes being this old, but not maxi like what we got now. And then a really old International. This one's out of my wheelhouse. All these older trucks, well, everything here drove in. She's a runner. It runs good. Thing runs quiet like a sewing machine. That's the brake if you didn't know. That's the clutch. I'm guessing that is probably horsehair in the seats, if I had to venture a guess. I'm guessing that top is also all original, judging by the fact that the tag is still there. And if it's not original, it was redone many moons ago, because them nails are not anything modern as far as the hardware goes. I'm guessing it's a 33. Going by the license plate. Got an old Dodge M37. This is a something of your civil defense. Wonder if you can read it on the other side. This is a unit of your civil defense. So that would have been what, National Guard, I'm assuming? Or is civil defense different than National Guard? She's fairly straight for her age. I mean, typical dents and dings you'd expect out of an army truck, but North Liberty, Indiana Fire Department. International R185. Cabs didn't get a whole lot bigger between this one and that KB11. But God, you can't beat that nose. All them trucks are late 40s. You can't beat that. Those are good looking trucks. Jeep Tuxedo Park Mark IV. That's a new one on me. Never heard of that. I was talking about a side-by-side. If I could find like a late 40s Jeep Willys, I would take a Willys Jeep over a side-by-side any day just because they're awesome. But they're getting kind of hard to find, at least around here. For the rat rod guys. Just judging by the work, I'm guessing that this thing is an old school. This is an old hot rod. This isn't something anybody just put together. This is probably 70s. Couple of Studebakers. These are local. These are built, well, these were built right across the road from the Oliver plant in South Bend. Oliver had one side of the street, and Studebaker basically had the other. '57 3E6 half ton. 245 Commander. I'm guessing 6 means straight 6. Pretty plain Jane. Back then, that's all you needed out of a truck. I'm surprised it's got a steel floor in the bed though. I figured it would have been wood. And then this one's probably a touch older, judging by the nose. Let's see, 59. No, that one actually is 57. Oh, that one's a touch newer. Same engine. This one's just a 3/4 ton. And a Dodge Power Wagon 200. This one's got someone put a Cummins in it. 5.9. And I was trying to figure out. It's hard to tell if they put a Power Wagon body on a later model chassis or if the body and the chassis go together. Yeah, well, judging by the fact that that's the fuel tank, I'm guessing she's all, other than the 5.9 Cummins, I'm guessing she's all original Dodge. The crew cab's got to be rare as hell. And now we got old school. We saw this truck here last time. This is, I think he says 1948. I think is what he said it was. It's actually owned by a guy Dad's friends with, grew up around him. It's a little GMC single axle. And what makes this one rare is it's a factory 453 Detroit. Back in this era, if you were running a diesel semi, you were big time in it, because back in this day, a lot of them were still gassers. So if you had a diesel back then, you were, yep, 48 GMC 752 series. Oh, it's 471 Detroit, sorry. Standard cab road tractor. Like the air conditioning, you swing the front windows open. wish I could read what the sign on the trailer said. This is inside of that trailer. International 4-cylinder. Oh, nope, Hall Scott. 390 cubic inch overhead cam 4-cylinder. 1928, 1934. Unknown make. Kermath Marine boat motor. Chevy 490, 171 cubes, 21 horse. Buda WTU. '25 Buick. Make unknown single cylinder. '37 Studebaker. Manifold cast into the block. '11 Buick. Maxwell, 1916 and 1925. Crosley. Neighbor's got a couple he's got two Crosley cars and a Crosley pickup, or one Crosley car and a Crosley pickup that use them engines.
Oh, because I was taking pictures of outside.
Rio 4-cylinder. Huh, F-head. Intake valves are in the block, exhaust valves are overhead. That's interesting. Saxon, built by Continental. '29 Plymouth. Dodge New 4, 1926 to 1928. Hercules. '14 Overland by Willys Overland, which would later make the Jeep, the original Jeep. And then 1915 GMC engine and transmission. And we're back. I unfortunately I went and poked around in their engine shed a little bit because it was open. They have a Shea 3 truck engine and a couple German steam engines that actually came from the Brookfield Zoo, and another Porter that they're working on restoring, and some other odds and ends floating around. But I didn't have enough video, or I didn't have enough battery on the camera, I felt, to get through everything, and I didn't want to just be going through it and have it drop dead. So, but I'm sure it won't be the last time I'm going there, and if anybody's close enough that they want to see, well, go check out the museum, because it's worth it. It's one of them deals you'd kind of like to see places like that stay around, because once they're gone forever. And that show grounds, it's been around, that place has been around since the 60s. And I guess back in the 70s, 80s, that was one of the premier shows around the Midwest. And especially if you were into steam. And it just kind of, as the years go by, it just seems to keep like petering off, unfortunately. So partly due to poor advertising, like this truck show we went to was very, very, very poorly advertised. And if I'd realized just how poorly advertised, I would have made a quick video a couple weeks ago. Although honestly, I kind of forgot about the show until just this week. So I guess this is my bid to kind of help that show out. Father's Day weekend next year, if you got a vintage car, truck, anything, that show is not for tractors. They have a separate show Labor Day weekend that's their steam and power show, that's their tractor show. But the Father's Day truck show, even if you got like a newer semi that's a show truck or something, show up. I would really love to see that little show blow up again. It would be great. Father's Day weekend, Hesston Steam Museum, hesston.org. I'll put a link to the website down here in the video description so you can see it. Next weekend, if it's something you're interested in, they're having a Civil War reenactment, and I guess they have a battle on the train. There's a field, they stop the train, and there's like a Civil War battle reenactment, and they take the train and switch sides and yada yada yada, and they have a Civil War camp, and you can walk around that. So if you're in northern Indiana and you like Civil War stuff, hesston.org again, they're having that Civil War reenactment. I think that's both next Saturday and next Sunday. Go check that out. I think they run the trains almost every weekend. They have a Christmas train, they have a Halloween train, special events. Just like I say, get on if you're into that kind of stuff and you've never been there, or it's been a long time since you've been there. They're working on getting their food. They have I'm sure you saw it in the video, that soda fountain building. I guess that was actually set up by an off-site food vendor, and they backed out on them. But they still have the building and all the equipment and everything, so they've been working on getting a new vendor in there to run it for the shows. And I guess they're looking at they were hoping to have that back up and running next weekend for the Civil War thing, if not the following weekend, because they're open for the 4th of July as well. So hard to believe the 4th of July is that damn close. I'd like to go over there for the Civil War thing, but I really need the wheats. Need to get 7300 out and I got the parts to to about half rebuild the cutter bar. So I'm probably gonna be working on the 7300 next weekend. Otherwise I might bebop over that Civil War thing just for a couple hours, but we'll see. I really need to work on stuff, so I should have been spraying today. I think I'm actually gonna go finish spraying beans when I get done talking to you guys here. So, but like I say, put it on your calendars for next year, or for next Father's Day. Even if you don't got a truck to bring or a car to bring or anything like that, just show up to help support them. Train tickets for kids are, I think the kids are $3 or $4 and adults are $9 for the train ride, which probably sounds like a lot until you think about what it takes to have all the boilers certified and the upkeep on the track. And I can't imagine what their insurance costs are on that place to keep it going. So for what their costs are to keep that place going, it's probably fairly cheap. Plus they got to buy coal and all that stuff. So, and like I say, it's all not for profit. They run on donations and volunteer time. So, like I say, well worth checking the place out. So, with that being said, I guess I'm gonna finish getting things put away. So that's it for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. And as a quick aside, while we're talking about little shows, our 4th of July parade in town is a go. July 4th, Galean, Michigan. Lineup starts at 10:30 or 11 at the school, if I remember right. So if you're around and you want to show up to watch that or bring something to run in the parade, July 4th, show up. We'd like to see that growing too. So that's my PS at the end of this video. So that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.